So anyway, you can see my screen, hopefully. I'll leave these steps here. I'm sorry. Each of these steps here, all of these little tasks and stuff, there are individual videos for those in your resources folder, right? So when you go here and you go to LinkedIn Learning Chapter 3, what it does is it opens this up. And I think I missed the boat on this the first week that we did this. So I'm taking some ownership over this. But basically, there are a boatload of videos out here that identify very specific things. Okay. These videos, as you do these, just watch them and stuff, those actually add up in time to give you the certificate that you can get from LinkedIn Learn. Okay. Remember how I said there's two different things? There's a certificate that you can get from LinkedIn Learn that shows that you went through all this training stuff. But then there's also the certification through Microsoft that we're going to be doing. These videos are highly important. So if you have specific questions, like using the average function and stuff like that, you would click on that and you could actually watch that. I'm going to tell you that these videos are better than anything else I'm going to find on YouTube to throw out there quickly and stuff like that. And it also gives you the ability to fast forward, rewind, replay, and stuff like that. So even when I lecture over this stuff, when I lecture over this, if I have, return to week 4, if I have this many things that I have to lecture over, we don't get to spend very much time on each thing. Okay. Plus, I'm trying to give you some time to work in class and all that good stuff. Those videos also support what's in like Lab 1B, for instance. Okay. I was getting concerned when I started getting emails and stuff. The other concern I have is that there's a lot of people that have been having a problem doing the video capture. I don't care about the video capture, just turn in the actual files, okay? Turn in the actual files and try to get them in on time. The only reason you wouldn't be able to submit something is if you're trying to submit it late. Now, I actually, like I said, for last week, I take ownership. I mean, that was me. I missed class. I was sick. Now here's the thing though. Assignments are posted on Sundays and go through Sunday. So you've got 7 days. And one of the things I've been noticing a lot of people do is wait till Saturday. And then if you have questions, God forbid I end up in the hospital again or something and I can't answer your question, uh, you know, that's one thing. The other thing is that after a certain time of night, I'm shutting down. I'm with my family. So, anytime after, like after dinner time on Saturday, I'm done. I don't check my email very much at that point. I can't say that because some of you have emailed me. I was checking my email and everything and responding to people throughout my entire ordeal. And I have also responded to people at midnight, 1 in the morning, doesn't really matter. All depends. Can I sleep? Can I, what's going on? But I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be able to answer your email at that point. The other thing is because we're using platforms, any type of technology error that takes place, like let's say for some reason the server's down at Northwood, it wasn't down for 7 days. You see what I'm saying? So, and what I'm saying is stuff that could help you in all of your classes. These are things that I'm noticing, and these are things that could help everyone in all of their classes, because if you don't start at the beginning and you wait till the end, the minor well, I don't want to say minor, those little hiccups that happen in life always come back to bite us. It's, I kind of feel like, I don't want to feel like a downer because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give advice. Um, I look back at my college years and my high school years and stuff like that, and I think about how I went through doing stuff. And my homework was done before I left the building, in high school. And then, like, even with college, I don't think I ever did homework on weekends. I think majority of my stuff took place during the week. Um, I would much rather spend my free time on weekends if I can, having fun. Um, there might have been a couple occasions where I had to write a paper or something that was assigned on a Friday and it was due on a Tuesday or something. So, anyway, those are concerns that I have and things that I want to try to help people get through. Um, and that's one of the main reasons we're meeting. Another reason would be to look at some of the stuff that was in week 4. If you didn't submit week 4 yet, you still can. Okay. Um, week 4, week 5, I'm going to be pretty lenient on the due date because of the fact that I don't want my stuff to become an issue for you. Okay. Uh, I don't believe in that. So uh, now don't fall too far behind because you're going to find yourself scrunching 3 weeks in together, 3 weeks worth of work in together. And the next thing you know, you don't get to enjoy auto show weekend because you're just bombarded by stuff from my class. And I would actually feel bad about that. I'm sorry. Uh, takes a while to recover, I guess. Um, so with that said, let me pause there and ask, are there any questions? Any concerns? I mean, I'm gonna go over some of these tasks and stuff, and we'll talk about some of that stuff. Um, but are there any things that, because I think people had a question on lab 1 for sure. I'm gonna open that up. One thing that might not have been in week 4, and my wife actually brought this to my attention, was that somewhere in there, week 4 asked you to calculate shipping costs. Am I correct? Show me a hand. Somebody show me a hand. Okay. It asked you to create that, but the one thing it didn't do is, where did I just download that to? Right there. There's directions. Okay, just move that over. So, wow. The one thing it didn't talk about were types of cell references. Okay. Types of cell references actually make a pretty big difference how these enable editing. Um, there are 3 different types of cell references. One is relative. A relative cell address is something like this. I say equals A1, hit enter. Then no matter where I copy this, what's going to happen is I'm copying, and it's going to change according to the direction that I copy those cells. So right here, it's A1. You can see right here in the formula, it's A1. If I go here, it changed to B1. If I go here, it changed to C1. So I'm copying across columns, the column letter is going to change. Here, it changed to A2, A3, A4, B3, B5, okay? As I drag down rows, it changes accordingly. That's a relative address. Okay. So I'm going to I am recording this, so yeah, I am, right? I just started recording, didn't I? Let me look. Yeah, it's recording. Okay. So relative address, an example is just I had to put a space, otherwise it thinks that's a formula. Okay. Then there is a mixed cell address. And mixed cell address? What? Where'd my ADD go? There we go. A mixed cell address gives us the ability to save a value. If I said equals dollar sign, where's my dollar sign? Dollar sign A1. That would mean no matter where I copy that formula, I always want it to look in column A. I'm saving that value for column A. Okay. Another way you can do a mixed is equals A $1. Oh, one. No matter where I copy that formula, I would always be looking in row 1, which means if I copy this formula across, the column heading is still going to change. The row number will stay the same. Okay. Here, if I drag this down, the column or even over, it doesn't matter where I drag it, it's always going to look in column A for something, but the row number can change. Okay. The last type of cell address is absolute. Okay. And an absolute cell address looks like this, equals dollar. Think when I put dollar, think of S, right? Save. Save A, save 1. An absolute cell address, no matter where I copy that formula or that function or whatever, is always going to look for A1. Okay. So if shipping costs was on this site, you have these values here, blue line, green line, all that stuff. If I'm trying to do this, I would have to use some type of uh, relative or absolute cell reference to do it, okay? So in this case, where was I supposed to actually, shipping cost, and that's per mile. I'm taking for granted that that's a per mile. If I said this, if I said equals this times this, okay, and I hit enter, it gives me a number. No, it doesn't. It gives me a date. That's not what I want. What number? There. Okay, so it's saying that's the shipping cost. If I copy that down, all kinds of weird things happen. How many of you had that happen? Okay. Now, if I was to do this, yes, see, if I was to do this and say, you know what, I'm going to say instead of B11, I want to save the 11 because I know I'm going to copy it down, right? Am I correct? So I'm going to save that value. Now, if I copy it down, it does them all for me. Okay. Now, what happens if I drag it this way? Well, if I drag it this way, it's going to pull me out of that column. So I can't just drag that whole formula. What I have to do is I have to type it in again. I have to say equals this times this. And I would want to save the 12. Or the other thing I could do is just make it absolute. Now, for people that are not on Mac, what's really cool about this is if I hit my F4 key, wait, maybe it's not working on my computer. Oh, shoot. It's not working on my computer either. Anyway, I don't know if it's because I'm on a wireless keyboard that's hooked to my computer or what, but normally you can hit F4 and it'll cycle through relative address where you're saving a row, a column, and so on. But in this case, it's not doing it. Maybe they changed that on me. I don't know why they would, but they might have. Let's change that to number and let's drag it down. Okay. So I don't think that the recordings in that for the week, I don't believe that they actually had, I don't believe they actually had anything about cell references. And I just want to verify because sometimes that will happen where, you're using a platform and they just, unless it was from a previous insert spark lines, no. Tables, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't see. So, sorry. If you were to watch the videos, you might actually see her do it, but I don't like it if she does something like that and then doesn't actually show something that's as powerful as the tool that I just showed you. Okay. So anyway, that's what that would look like. If I copy that over, we're going to have problems because that's going to change. If I wanted to copy this over, what would I have to do? I'd have to save the column here, the row on the other. And then, and I'd have to change something a little bit, but, and then I would just have to change this to 13 and not C13, B13 there. Okay. And then that part would have been done. Totals, just so you know, easy way to do that is you highlight a range. If I have a range that I have to total like that, if I highlight the range and I click this and just click sum. I don't know why all those are formatting is the way they are, but there we go. Okay. Makes sense. Has this been helpful so far? No?
Yes, it's definitely been helpful.
Okay. So there's that. I'd have to look at the rest of these and see what the questions were on. So let's pull up the instructions. So it says shipping costs, cell A2, enter zone 3, then autofill to complete this list is zone 9. So that is on the shipping cost worksheet, cell A2, enter zone 3. So I go here, A2, I enter zone 3, right? And then all I have to do here is to autofill, I can do one of two things. I can drag this down, or I could just double click it and it'll go till it stops. Okay. So that's how you would do that. Now zone 10, obviously there isn't a zone 10 because that's our total row, not this other. Okay. So there's that. Then fill cells by using autofill in the worksheet and cell E2 calculate. I just did all of those and I used autofill and I didn't actually explain that to you guys. There's a couple ways you could do it. If you wrote these three first, you could just grab those and then drag them down. Okay. Or if you write one, you could just drag it down. There is a button up in here somewhere for autofill. I don't use it because it's just so much easier just to grab this fill handle, it's called, okay? So when my cursor is a black plus sign like that, that's a fill handle, and I can hold down and I can drag that and do whatever I need to do, okay? Now, like I said, you can't just double click, but you're gonna get an error here because it's looking for values here. That we total them, but yeah, so the fill handle is nice. If you're hovering over and it turns into a four-way arrow, then you can move the cell. And if you notice something, the function or the formula that we wrote comes exactly as it was. Okay. Not very often you would do that. And then the plus sign is just selection. So there is a difference between what your cursor looks like and what you're actually doing when you click. Okay. So we got, what are you doing? Go away. Oh, there. Apply number formats. So they're telling you use the accounting number format and shipping cost. If I go back here, um, you can just click this. That's accounting. If I was doing anything other than accounting, then you would have to figure out more accounting formats or what have you. If I wanted it not to be accounting and just be general dollars, you could go here and go to currency. And then you can see the difference. Accounting always lines up your dollar sign all the way to the left, where general currency just butts up the dollar sign right next to the number. Accounting likes it this way because it keeps everything lined up all nice and neat. Keeps those dollar signs out of the way from reading those numbers. So that's what that was. So there's that. I already did that. Wrap text within cells. It says wrap text in cells E1, F1, and G1. So E, F, G. If I want to wrap, the only reason I wrap is because this gets so long that it extends that column and it makes the whole thing look terrible. So if I want to wrap text, all I have to do is select what I want, like what lines I want to wrap, and I hit that. Looks like no change happened, right? There was a change. Okay. So definitely a change. And they'll probably tell you what size to go through and all that stuff, but definitely a change. Okay, so anyway, it's just a way of handling that where you wrap your text. Okay. Just makes things look better. That's more what this exercise was about. Yeah, you had the formula there, but it's mostly about let's maneuver around the worksheet. Let's look at how we format things, stuff like that. Modify cell alignment, orientation, and indentation. Align the text in cells to be centered horizontally and vertically at 30-degree orientation. So if I selected these and I want alignment, I would click this because that gives you all of your options for alignment. Okay. So they said centered horizontally, centered vertically, and what did they say the indent was? Did they say an indent? No, vertically at 30-degree orientation. So we would have to go change this to 30. Okay. Now, problem with that is you got to make this bigger. And you got auto fit still, so it still shows up. It also does away with that whole wrap text. But the nice thing about having the wrap text on is if I was here, and I had held down shift and hit enter, it should put it on a new line, but it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, so once you do that, that's just the way it's gonna look. So that's that part of the exercise. Inserting and deleting cells, to insert a row above and stuff like that. You can select, you could go to insert, no, not insert. I get confused because it says insert. Insert, and it will put it above or below. It goes below first, I think. Let me see. It goes below. If you want, you click the down arrow. You can say, okay, how many rows do I want to insert and stuff like that. So I'm going to insert cells, or I can right click and just go to insert. Okay. And if I wanted to delete, let's say I've got too many, I can highlight both of them, right click, delete them, or I could have deleted them here. Okay. So there's that. Let's see, what else is next? Merge and unmerge cells. Easiest way to do that. Let's see. Yeah. I'm just gonna make a row above this. Don't want to hide that. Insert there. And I'm just gonna call it flowers. I don't know. So to merge cells, all you do is you highlight the cells you want to merge and you select from this. You can merge across, you can merge in center, you could just merge the cells and you can unmerge cells, okay? So if I merge across or merge in center, it puts it in the center. If I was to change that to merge across, I think it's already because it's on center. If I was to do merge across, it keeps your justification. Okay. And then if I don't like it that way anymore, I just unselect. I have to select what it is and then say, click that button again to unmerge them. It says from the flowers rig sheet, copy the data, then insert a new sheet to the right and paste the text transposed. Okay. So if I go to flowers, let me just grab this data. Control C, go here, right click, and there's different ways of pasting. And it said you use transpose. Okay. Remember, anything that's on the screen on Microsoft, if you hover over it, it will give you a little alt tag that tells you what it is. So if I chose that, then the only thing I would have to do then is double click so all the values would show. Okay. Another way of doing it would be to, let's do another thing. I can actually just copy the sheet. Okay. I can create, move, or copy. And I want to create a copy of, we want it to that book. We want to move it to the end, create a copy, and hit OK. Now I've got two sheets that say flowers 2 that are absolutely identical. Okay. Which brings to mind when you're formatting stuff. Let's say I wanted to format this sheet and I also had this sheet, but I want them to be exactly the same. If I hold down Control, I can select the other sheet So now I've got both sheets selected. You can see they're both white. And let's say I decided I was going to add all borders. Now I click on sheet one, I click on flowers. You can see that all borders are there. Click on this, you can see that all borders are there. So being able to select multiple sheets is a way that we can take sheets that are identical to each other or in the same format and format them all at the same time. Base data, apply cell formats, horizontal left indent. I would tell you again, you go back to this. So if I was doing this, I'm going to, what sheet is that supposed to be on? In the flowers worksheet, format row one as follows: alignment left, indent, indent 0, vertical, center, font, all that good stuff. So what you do is in your flowers right here, and just highlight this, or you could do the whole row if you wanted to, it doesn't really matter. You would go to, in this case, I would probably go here to select my font and stuff like that. You can also select alignment. Notice how it has all of these tools right here. So if it was supposed to be horizontal, center, or left indent, whatever, vertical, I didn't see what it said, topper. Vertical center, so I'd go to vertical center. And then the indent was 0. And then it said what? Font is Arial black size 14. Border it gives you. Notice I can do all of it from here. Okay. Keep in mind as we go through this stuff, this is about the tools. This is about the tools, not each individual thing that you're doing. It's not about calculating shipping costs, it's about using those reference styles. It's not about calculating shipping costs, it's because I could have just said, I could have, cancel. I could have literally just said, if I wanted to, I could have said equals this times 1.83. Okay. And I could have copied that down. Show of hands, how many people did that? Or something on that lines. Okay. The reason we don't do that is because if the shipping cost for redlining changes, if your results don't change. Okay. Where if we have the formula using cell references, when this changes for some reason, it changes everything. Okay, this is literally all about the tool, not just the individual tasks. It's not just, hey, let's calculate shipping costs. It's about, let's calculate shipping costs, but let's do it in the way that Excel means us to, so that if shipping costs ever changes, it automatically updates. Okay. Because remember, I think first day of class, I was talking about, that these things are meant to make us more efficient, more productive. I showed you how we created those different calculators for loans and future value and stuff. Well, it's because we could use it over and over again. If I was a finance major, I'd be able to use that over and over again. Or so on. Okay. With a car sales or real estate or whatever. Sorry. Let's go back. I am not able to do what I'm trying to do. There. So we did that. Insert or delete multiple columns or rows. I did show you that. If I want multiple columns or rows, I just highlight them. And then you can go here to delete, hit cells or delete sheet columns. Okay. Same with rows. If I want to get rid of a couple rows, I can just go to delete. The trick is that you actually select the letters, not the text, not the cells. Okay. The trick is you're selecting the numbers or the columns. Okay, so the row number or the columns. If you select this, all you're doing is deleting data. Cool. So then that takes us to, well, that was lab 1B. Now, after seeing me do it, do you guys think that how many of you think you might be reading into these assignments a little harder than you should be? Yeah, that's a common thing. Sorry, I apologize. I just can't get past that. Imagine me being there in person because it takes me 10 minutes to walk around my yard right now. So I'd be coughing and have no energy. But the thing is when we don't understand something or we don't know something, we assume that it's got to be difficult. Okay. When you look at instructions, take them in black letter. Don't read into them. Say, okay, well, what's the easiest way to accomplish this? Don't look for the hardest way right off the bat. Okay. Take your time, read the instructions. The instructions are pretty straightforward on these. So, you know, don't put yourself in a situation where just because something's new and seems like it's got to be difficult, that it has to be difficult. One of the things I learned in life is everything's a process, you know. Doesn't matter what it is, it's a process. I can take an engine apart from the top down and put it back together. Why? Because if I can take it apart, you just reverse that process and put it back together. Okay. Once you get to a point where you recognize that it's a process and it's just literally taking things step by step and just literally not assuming that things are hard. Hopefully it becomes easier for you. Okay. I mean, this is more, tonight's lesson was about going over this to show you this, but it was more for me to make sure that I get you guys in a better place because I just don't feel comfortable with where some of you are, and because I can feel it. Okay. I get people through this class, and whenever I teach this class, people always get through this class. Okay. Just trust me a little bit. Let go of the anxiety. I mean, it's a computer. You're not going to break it. It can be fixed. It's an assignment. So you get something wrong, that's okay. We'll get it right next time. Okay. So there's that. Now, I'm going to go to our week 5 just to see what's in week 5. Did that answer everyone's questions from last week's stuff? Was that helpful? Yeah. Okay. We'll save that. We're going to go back here to week 5. We're going to look at what's in week 5. Oh, look at that. Remember, I was talking about the different types of references and stuff like that. This one's not actually going to be too bad. Let me go in here and I'm going to pull up the lab. If you have the lab, open it up, people, and just follow along. Life will be easier for you. Okay, so I want directions, lab 2 flowers, lab 2 data file. Okay. I'm going to take my instructions off of this screen. I'll read them as I go, or you guys can read them as we go. Do you guys need a minute to get this so you can work with me?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll let you catch up. I'll let you catch up.
Stop bullying me, y'all. That's not funny.
No.
Are you guys in the classroom?
No.
No,
Where,
I'm in my dorm room. They're just being mean because I have manners.
You have manners. How dare you?
I said yes, please instead of yeah.
Yeah. Oh, some people are just so happy with you or for you. We will probably put out Project Milestone 1 for this week. Let me actually make that unavailable. Has anyone started that? I would hope not. If you started it, it's okay. I'm gonna actually make it unavailable because we didn't have time to even talk about that part, did we? Okay. So I've got my stuff over here. It says open lab to data file and flowers XLSX. So I've got to open those two files. You guys still need a moment? Or can I open these?
I need a moment.
I need a moment what?
Yes, please.
I need a moment, please. I'm a terrible person. Wait, is this the right file? I have two data file. Am I have two flowers? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there's this maple editing on both of those. View the windows side by side, then turn off synchronous scrolling. So if I personally just adjust this myself. So I have them side by side. Just There's that. Take this down a little more so they can see less. And we're going to, there's some really cool things we'll do with something like this later on in the semester. So there. Now we just have to remember which one's which. So you'll always have to look at what file you're on. Okay. In the lab 2 data file, import the CSV data as a table in a new worksheet and rename worksheet flowers. Now that we've done before, haven't we?
Yes.
Am I using the wrong folder? Open lab 2 data file, and flowers.xl. Oh, I think that's the wrong folder. Is that the wrong file, guys? No, that's the right file. Okay, ignore me. Just didn't look right. There. Now, some of you may just actually copy and paste. I wouldn't necessarily do that. First off, I would also do something like this. I can actually see my data. I would just auto fit everything so I can actually see what I'm looking at. Okay. And then we're taking it from one to the other. So save the flowers workbook as a CSV file. So the flowers one right here, we go to File, Save As, and we call it select CSV. Okay. And then we would save it. I'm not going to do that. We've already done that, right? Where we imported information from another file, etc. Well, you know what? I'll do it because that's what the instructions say. So maybe I better do it. Don't show again. No, I should have a CSV out there. So on this sheet, it says to import, right? So I'm gonna go to data, get data from file, CSV. Remember, I am recording this too, okay? And there it is, lab flowers. Just select that. And it's gonna open up all kinds of interesting stuff for your connection and all that stuff. And this is what we're bringing in. And if I look, there's different loads. There's load 2, there's transform data, all that good stuff. I'm going to say load 2, and it said new worksheet, didn't it? So I'm just going to say as a table on a new worksheet and hit OK. That should bring it in right there. Okay. So that's first step. Do we need to do anything else with that other sheet? Doesn't look like it. So we can probably close that. Am I right? Yeah, we can close that. Why they made us go through that step, I do not know. Or does it really matter to me? Now, we brought it in as a table. I'm going to turn that table feature off. Okay. So I'm going to click inside of here, and what you'll see is up at the top, you're going to see table design and query. And you'll see all of these neat little buttons. And there's one that says convert to range. Convert that to a range and just say OK. Now all of a sudden that's just exactly what it looks like. It's just a table. It's not a table, it's just data. Okay. So we got the import done. Navigate to named cells, navigate to named cells, ranges, or workbook elements. Use the go to locate, use go to locate the cell named red. Well, guess what? If I just click this little name box right here, I don't have to use a go to anything. Okay. I can literally just click this down arrow. These are all the names of ranges and cells that exist in this document. If I click red, it takes me to the cell named red. Okay. If I was to click zone 3, it takes me to zone 3. If I was to click zone 9, it takes me to zone 9. If I was to go to blue, it takes me to blue. Okay. So when they say use go to locate that cell name, I say to actually use the name box because that's what this is called. If you hover over this without, I hover over that without being clicked in it, you'll see that that's the name box. Okay. There is another place that you can see all of this, and I'm trying to remember, is it on the data tab? There's a name manager. I can't remember his formulas probably. Name manager. And you can see that it lists all of the name cells and ranges that exist on the worksheet or in that document. Okay. And if there was a mistake, you could actually edit it here and stuff like that. But anyway, that's just another place you can see those. Oh, not that. Oh, there. Okay. Now, the other thing is if you just click in here and you say red, it's case sensitive, so red line, and I hit enter. It is a valid reference I want to go to. Red line. What's that? Oh, I keep forgetting you can't have spaces in names. So if I go to red line, obviously it's, what the heck? Why is it not showing? Oh, wait, yeah, it is. It's right there. So it's red. Oh, so it's just red. Sorry. Red line is that cell. So anyway, name box. Take you to anywhere you want to go. Okay. That's also where you would go to name a cell. So if I wanted to name, by the way, you can name a cell more than one time, but you cannot use the name, any name more than once. So right now this is green, but if I said I wanted this to be green, green line, and then I hit enter, now I have a name for green line and green, and they both take me to the same place. Same thing works for ranges and stuff, okay? If I was to highlight a range like this, I'm gonna call that data. Okay, I'm gonna click off of it, and you have to hit enter to save the name. But if I go here and I go to data, it selects all of it. Okay. And that's the define a range, a named range. Okay, in the shipping cost worksheet, name the miles to Munson's data cells D2 to D8 as miles. So, and that was on what sheet? I'm sorry. Shipping cost worksheet. So we're there. And it said from D2 to D8. D2 to D8. They want us to call that miles. MILES. Hit enter. It saves the name. If you don't hit enter, it does not save the name. And watch what happens if I create a formula that I'm going to spell miles wrong. Okay. I get a name error. If you get a name error, that means you're trying to use a name for a cell reference or a cell that doesn't exist. Okay, so that's just a hint if you run into that error. But we just named that from D2 to D8, we named it miles, just like it told us to. Okay. In the shipping cost worksheet, enter a formula using the name range and cells to calculate shipping. Wait, am I on the right project? Is this the same one that we just did? Oh, this is different. Why do I want to have to do that again? Here we go. Equals. Oh, I think I just realized something. It's F2. No, it's F4. Huh. It just does not want to work for me. Shift F4. Control F4. Huh, F4 just does not work on my computer. So I guess welcome to the Mac world to me, because that's when I would do that. So if I want to be able to copy this across columns, you want to save your column value. If I need to save the row, which I don't for that cell, but I do need it for this cell. So, oh, look at that. By naming it red, it's always going to look at red. Let me change that to currency or number or whatever. Watch what happens. That's the beautiful thing about naming a cell. It's just it's an absolute cell reference. Okay. So now, if I was to copy this across, the only difference here is that instead of red, this is going to be blue. Right? And instead of red, this is going to be green. And all I have to do is copy these down. Right? So I think we're good there. We name that one count, by number formats. We're good on the numbers right now. Format the shipping costs neutral to currency with no decimal places. Highlight this. Go to here. See what I clicked? I clicked that little arrow. It opens up everything. I want currency, 0 decimals. Okay. Hit okay. There's that. Then we got that done. Now we're in 2.1.2. Fill cells by using autofill. In the estimated shipment date worksheet, use autofill to enter the following zones 4 through 9. So zones 4 through 9, I would literally just grab the fill handle and drag it over. Okay. That's the way I would do it. There are other options of doing things though. Like I said, there's like 30 different ways of doing things. Okay, if you look, you've got fill, you can fill right, left, all that stuff. So let me show you that as a nifty little tool. If I was to go to fill right, nope, wrong, sorry, chose me. I think I have to go something like this. I don't use this tool very often like that. Okay. But then that took zone 3 the whole way. I didn't want to do that. I'd stick with this. Okay. You can do series. Fill series. So let's do that. Let's go to here, go to fill series. Series and rows, day, trend, step value 1. You're still better off just grabbing this. Oh, not that way. Okay. Anyway. The date as row headings. Set to enter every other month until January 2022. So every other month, how would we do that? That would have to be a series fill. Okay. There's a couple ways you could do that though, because it says, where was I on this? Use autofill to enter the following, the date as row headings. Set to enter every other month until January 2022. So here's the thing, if 220 isn't every other month, I could do it this way. I could say it's 3/20/2020. And if I grab this together and I drag it, that gives me every other month. The other way is to use that cumbersome series fill. Okay. Another way of doing it would have been to, if I had this, for instance, I should be able to go to fill, flash fill. Not that. I want to do that. Should do that for me. Flash fill. It's because there's no data next to it, so flash fill is not gonna work. Flash fill would have worked if there was actually data in all of these cells, because it looks and says, oh, okay, there's stuff there. So at the end of the day, you would have to go to series, and set this up. Here's the date. Step value is like 2, stop values, whatever it is, and so on. Still something I don't really care much for. Okay. I always prefer personally just to put 1 month, then the other month, and then drag it down and fill it as a series that way. I feel I have more control over it. So that's why I would do it that way. Then resize the columns to show all text. So all you gotta do is there, shows all text. Okay. Use the outsourcing worksheet. Use flash fill to enter the last name and initials of the nursery owner's names. Where's that sheet at? Is there still another sheet over there? There it is. Okay. If I want to enter last name, now remember how I said that if there was data next to something and I used flash fill, it would actually do something. If I look, my nursery owner, their last name is Peeler. So I say Peler, and I hit enter. If I go to fill and flash fill, it recognizes what I did in that line of in that whole row. It recognizes what I did and does the same thing for all of them. Pretty cool. I think it is. And then and the initials of the owner's names. So if I was to say G space P and use flash fill, and then if I want just zone number, guess what? Okay. Show of hands, how many think that was cool? I got a tough crowd. I mean, these are life-changing moments, people. So we are to autofill, fill cells by using autofill. Use the function arguments dialog box to enter a function in J2 that only returns the zone number from A. I showed you how you could use that to do it, but there is a function, and this is one of my biggest hints I'm going to give you. Enter function returns. I'm going to control C that, and I'm going to click in a cell because I didn't want us to do it that way. I showed you that way, but they didn't want that. What they want us to do is go to the function dialog box. I'm going to paste in my question. It didn't like that. So let's see. Return zone number from column A. Returns the last value of column A. Oh, not stock history. Oh, why would they give you this and not tell you the name of the function? Was it end? Well, guess what? Here's a wonderful world of the internet. Oh, don't do that. Go away. I need my internet. This. I don't want to word this. Return. That's the last letter number. Cell. Function. In Excel, make sure you gotta name that. Right, that's what I was thinking. Now, if you look, right B returns the last character or characters in a text string. I would probably want to use right B, okay? And if I wanted to do this, let's go back to Excel. And in here, and go back here, and I'm just going to type right B, enter. Oh, it doesn't want to help me at all on that, does it? Oh, we'll search it this way if it wants to be that way to us. You're supposed to be able to search them, and that's, my computer just got some issues today. So there's right. It doesn't look like there is a right B, so we're just going to use right. The text that we want the right value of is in cell A2. The number of characters that we want from the right would probably be, it looks like we can do 1, but what if it went to zone 10 or something like that? I'm gonna put 1, because if you put 2, it'll pull a space in. So I don't necessarily want to do that. I'll show you. If I put a 2 here, notice how the 3 moved over. Okay. If I change that to a 1, it just returns just the 3. So now that I did that, I can drag it down. Beneficial, I don't know if it's any better than using the flash fill or not. Flash fill what would be cool about that is it's going to, flash fill would take all the way to the space. So even if there was a 10, it should have pulled a 10, an 11, a 12. Okay. Where this, I would have to change that number to a 2 to pull a 10, an 11, a 12, and so on. Okay. So there's that. We already did the insert and delete multiple columns, insert and remove hyperlinks. Inserting and removing hyperlinks is the same as what it was in Word. Okay, you can right click, you can edit hyperlink, remove hyperlink, add hyperlink through here. You can also do it through the menu system, find where that's at. But if I remove a hyperlink now, if I click on it, I'm not going to go to the website. If I right click and I go to link, insert link, now here, text to display, I want that to be the same address. Okay. So hit OK. And then you go mouse and puts a hyperlink again. In the flowers worksheet, name the table on the flowers worksheet flowers. Remember on the flowers worksheet how I changed that so it's no longer a table? I would have to go in here and I'd have to go to format as table. I don't care what color scheme I choose. My data has headers, so it'll use those headers. Hit OK. And then once you're there, right here is where you would type flowers. Okay. And you have to hit enter for it to save. So now that table is known as flowers. Cell styles. We already did that.
Can you redo that step?
Okay, yeah. Let me show you. I'm going to convert that back to a range. Okay. So right now it's just a range. It's not a table. If I click anywhere inside of here, because of the way it's laid out, if I say format as table, select whatever I choose, hit OK. Now it's a table again. And then for table name, it's saying call it flowers. Okay. So pretty straightforward. Like when you imported originally, it came in as a table. I actually converted it to a range as just an example. So you don't actually probably have to convert it back to a table. All you got to do is click in it and change the table name under table design. Okay, so there's that. Modify cell alignment, orientation, and indentation. We already did that. I'm not going to do that again. In the flowers worksheet, clear the formatting for zone data C2 to I28. C2 to I28. I want to literally grab this and I want to clear the formatting, right? So how do you clear formatting? Does anyone know? Oh, where did it go? Why don't I always remember clear formats? So it's in home. There's a button underneath the fill button called clear formats. Okay. And then it says apply built-in conditional formatting. And Flowers worksheet, apply the top 12% conditional formatting rule to the shipping cost column. So what I would do is I would select my values, go to my conditional formatting, and it says top 12%. So here's your top bottom rules. Here's top 10%, but they want top 12%. How do I do that? I go to more rules. And instead of top 10, I change that to top 12%. Okay. And then you also can format. What do you want it to look like? I want it bold, what have you. I don't really know. It's up to you guys. I think it tells you to light red fill with dark red text. So I would do regular font color. This is dark red, and then fill was light red fill. So I would go to, gotta hover. Why isn't it telling me? The heck? I don't really care which one it is, to be honest with you. But you can go to more colors and choose. I mean, you can do all kinds of interesting things, but most of the time it should be in the list. But right now it's not showing me names, so that's kind of creating a whole new issue. So I'm just gonna go with this pink color, pinkish orange. So it's gonna look like that, and I hit OK. So now I just showing the ones that stand out, those are in the top 12% of the values. Okay. We're not very much further and we'll be done with this one, people. Customize headers and footers. That's page layout, page setup. There's your header and footer. Custom header. Okay. It says insert a custom header to include the file name in the center section and the custom footer to include the date in the center section. So I do a custom header, click in the center section, and if you hover over, see how it says insert file name? There we go. And then for the footer center, it wanted what? The date. Okay. And that was it. In the flowers worksheet, set print area, so I'm gonna say okay to that. There's my header and footer. But in the flowers worksheet, which I'm still in, I'm going to set the print area. You've selected a single cell. I don't want to do that. It tells me what I want. A1 to J29. A1 to J29. If I say set print area, now that is the current print area. Okay. So that's anything that's outside that print area will not print. We got that. Set the sheet to center on page horizontally and vertically. The rows to repeat at top, so configure print settings. We're going right back here. We're going here. We're going to say that we want sheet. We need something to repeat at top, with row 1 to repeat at top. Okay. Any columns to repeat? I didn't see column A. So I click here, and then got that print with grid lines. Says over then down. Over then down. Okay. And then set the sheet to center on the page horizontally and scale to 80%. Okay. So now I have to find where that's at. I have to go to page. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want page. Why don't I see it in there? Margins. I wanted it to print. Where is it? Over and then down. Center on page horizontally, scale to 80%. So we want it horizontally, but then when I'm off of that, I want to go back to page and I want to adjust that to 80%. Then click OK. Okay. And then check the workbook for compatibility 2016 and copy the report to a new sheet and save the worksheet, all that stuff. So you would end up going to review, check accessibility, or check the workbook for compatibility for 2016. So, okay. It takes a little while because I'm bouncing from this to this and trying to explain things, but I just walked us through this week's lab. Yes, it's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday, but if I walked us through it, we should be able to submit that. So do your best to. I'm not going to be a stickler this week on the due date because of everything. I created some of the issues that I had brought up, so I adjust because you guys are more important than you guys are more important in the scheme of this than a due date. Okay. What you get out of my class, I much prefer that students get something of value out of my class than just get a grade. Okay. Any questions? Was this helpful? Did this shed some light on how you would look at these instructions and perform these tasks and stuff? We went over last week's lab, and then we went over this one.
I thought it was helpful, and I really appreciate you walking us through it all.
Oh, no problem. That's what I was going to do last class. If I was there, I was going to be doing exactly what I'm doing, but we wouldn't have been behind because all that other stuff was happening. So. No. So hopefully we can get back on track and, you know, like I said, I'll push the, I'll push things forward a little bit so we don't have to cram a bunch of stuff in to get caught up. That never solves anything. Putting work on top of work doesn't solve anything. So we'll go from there. I'll do my best to make sure that I keep you going down this track, and I'm going to start using the labs as lecture material when we're in class, okay? Again, I recorded this. The link will be available to you. All you have to do is go into your Teams calendar and you can click on today's date, and I think it'll show you that. If not, let me know and I can put a link to it, I believe. So let me stop recording. Okay, so any